The president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, has called for an urgent meeting of Latin American foreign ministers in order to defend their countries from U.S. threats. The Colombian president requested the meeting in light of the possibility that the United States might deploy troops to Latin America under the pretext of combating criminal groups. Petro also emphasized that as president of Colombia, he has been fighting drug trafficking relentlessly, even though he does not agree with the methods implemented by the U.S. government. Furthermore, the head of state claimed that Washington intended to attack Latin America using the same strategy employed by the Israeli regime against the Gaza Strip. In her daily press conference, Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum called false the statements made by U.S. President Donald Trump about the level of insecurity in the city of Mexico.
Now, what we do not agree with is when he said it is the most unsafe city in Latin America, because Mexico City is not the most unsafe city in Latin America. There are other cities that have higher crime rates per 100,000 inhabitants.
Welcome back to From the South. The United Nations has called for immediate action in the Gaza Strip following the death of more than 100 children from severe malnutrition as a result of the Israeli government's hunger campaign. The United Nations World Food Programme warns that more than 300,000 children are at risk of extreme starvation, as a large part of Gaza's population goes days without food. The international organization noted that more than 62,000 tons of food are required monthly to cover food needs. For its part, Tel Aviv only allows the minimum of essential supplies, which worsens the social and humanitarian crisis.
It is not the destiny of the Palestinian people to have an eternal conflict with Israel and to keep losing thousands of our children and women and our people on the hand of this war machine by Israel. It is our duty to convince everyone that there is another alternative, the alternative of immediate ceasefire. As we see the millions, the hundreds of millions in all capitals are saying they want to save lives of the Palestinian people, ceasefire now, that's their cry. And the leaders who are not yet convinced of that message should listen.
On Monday, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum expressed her support for the proposal to grant asylum to Palestinian children orphaned by the genocide in Gaza. The president described the initiative as positive and recalled that Mexico has maintained throughout its history an open-door policy for those seeking refuge. To assess the viability of this measure, she instructed the Secretary of the Interior, Rosa Isela Rodriguez, and the Secretary of Foreign Affairs to review all the legal, logistical, and humanitarian aspects that would be involved in receiving and caring for these children. And in a statement, ALBA TCP member states condemned the murder of Palestinian journalists and demanded an end to the genocide in Gaza. The Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of America People's State Treaty condemns in the strongest possible terms the murder of journalist Anas Hamad al-Sharif, along with four of his colleagues. What is happening in Palestine is a planned and ongoing genocide, the most brutal manifestation of human horror and depravity, and a contemporary expression of neo-Nazi and neo-fascist practices. The premeditated murder of journalists like Anas and his colleagues is not collateral damage. It is a deliberate policy of forced silencing that since October 2023 has claimed the lives of 238 journalists. ALBA TCP denounces that the Zionist state of Israel has turned the Gaza Strip into a laboratory for crimes against humanity, systematically violating international humanitarian law and the United Nations Charter. ALBA TCP reaffirms its unwavering and irrevocable commitment to the Palestinian cause and demands the immediate cessation of the genocide, the complete lifting of the siege, and the end of the occupation until Palestine is free, sovereign, and lives in peace. Also, thousands of Europeans held pro-Palestinian demonstrations Tuesday to demand an Israeli ceasefire in Gaza. Under the slogans, "Gaza, you are not alone," and "This is not war, it is genocide," protesters took to the streets in cities across Germany, Denmark and the Netherlands and expressed their concerns that Zionism continues its attacks on the Gaza Strip and blocks the entry of humanitarian aid despite international rejection. They also condemned the death of at least 18,000 Gazan children since the beginning of the genocide. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian warned Caucasus countries about the risk of the United States using the new transport corridor in the region as a tool to impose its hegemonic interest under the guise of promoting peace or boosting the economy. In a telephone conversation with Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan, the Iranian leader emphasized that the project must guarantee Armenia's sovereignty and exclude any foreign military presence. Pezeshkian reiterated that Iran, as a harbor of peace and stability, supports any genuine agreement that promotes cooperation among regional countries, but opposes any maneuver that alters borders or serves to isolate Iran and Russia in a context marked by the recent peace agreement between Armenia and Azerbaijan, conciliated by Washington. And Arab leaders and tribes in Syria announced Tuesday a permanent mobilization in support of the nation's transitional government in its struggle against the Syrian Democratic Forces (SDF). The expression of support responded to a call made by Sheikh Faraj al-Hamoud al-Salama of the Al-Nasser tribe to fight those he described as outlaws from Kandil and their local treacherous accomplices. So their differences to join the mobilization, claiming that the interests of the homeland are above any other consideration. The movement seeks to expand citizen participation with the objective of achieving freedom, justice and protecting social rights. In Spain, a man died from burns and thousands were forced to leave their homes Tuesday as wildfires raged across parts of the country. According to authorities, winds of up to 70 kilometers per hour fanned the flames that swept through Madrid's Tres Cantos wealthy neighborhood, where the victim was reported. On the other hand, the beaches of Tarifa in Andalusia were once again threatened by flames from nearby mountains, forcing the rapid evacuation of thousands of tourists. The wildfires coincide with a heat wave that entered its 10th day on Tuesday, with maximum temperatures of 40 degrees and minimum nighttime temperatures of over 25 degrees. In the United Kingdom, fire brigades put out 3 grass fires in the East London area of Wanstead Flats during the last 2 days, as the capital city records the nation's highest temperature of the day. About 70 firefighters in 10 fire engines participated in the extinction of the Wanstead Flats blazes, while 60 firefighters put out another grass fire of Northolt, West London. Sites in London are among several across southern England, the Midlands and East Anglia that have now met heatwave criteria, having seen 3 consecutive days above their threshold temperatures. According to Europe is heating up almost twice as fast as the global average, increasing the frequency and intensity of heat waves and the risk of wildfires. In 200 years, from the Congress of Angostura, from Boyacá, Carabobo, Bombona, Pichincha, from Junín, Ayacucho, from the foundation of Bolivia, the Republic of Bolivar. How many paths have we went through from February 1992, from Bolivar, Chavez, Zamora to get to this point? How many struggle? And we did arrive. It doesn't matter what Zionism or imperialism thinks about this. We are victorious in standing still, at peace and free. We do not depend on anyone. We are not to be defeated by anyone. And we arrive here and it was our duty to do this well, and that we need to defend ourselves like a boxing match. Yes, we have to know how to defend ourselves, like Carlos Cañizares, who won the world prize recently. This boy from San Pablito in Caricó neighborhood, and I said, because he has a perfect defense, impeccable defense. He moves around. The defense can be still. It needs to move around, up and down, and studying the enemy, right? But on the fourth round, he lowered his left hand like a microsecond. I said to him, he already had analyzed it. A microsecond. He put his left hand a little bit down, and the Thailand contingent who had a missile on his right hand, he put his fist. How do you call this blow from upside down? A bolao is how we say here in the West. He hit him in the hands, in the face, from near to the ear, and the boy had rectified his position. He took some air in, and it was painful for him. He fixed his posture, and he took the plan to beat him down on his rest. He already had it started. He knew where he had to hit to defeat it, because the Thai contingent launched some blows against his face, but he managed to handle it. It is very easy to knock down a Mexican or Russian, but he managed to debilitate his contingent, and he managed to launch a blow almost invisible, and the man fell to the ground. He fell right to the ground after that blow. The lesson is we will never need to put our left side down and to blow and hit with force where Zionism and imperialism, it hurts. The result is, we're speaking about boxing. Some people don't like this sport. I do like it because I was raised watching to that. I think very violent, the UFC. Do you like it? It is very strong. Well, the result of the fight, he fractured. That was why he was so in pain, because he made a fracture on him, and he had to be taken to the hospital to be treated, and he had to leave the country right away, and that is how you fight. You need to get inside the ring and to defend ourselves very well. And if your guard blows down, you are going to be received blows from Zionism and fascism and threats. And we have a plan. Today we came to honor and develop the third T, the transformation number 3. Here I have it, Padrino. 3T. Here it says. Here I have it in my document. This is a very beautiful document. You can read it even to enjoy yourself, and became to knowledge how we have been moving forward in our goals, in our lines of action, and all of them are in plain development in a simultaneous way, each and every one of them in a simultaneous way, every 7 transformations. All of them have the highest importance for us. The 3T, third transformation, security, citizens, security and defense, unity and territorial integrity. And we are moving forward. And I'm on the main lines of the 3Ts. The first one, please, let me put my glasses on. The most important topics from this 30, the third transformation, is to guarantee through the popular union, police and military union, the integrity of the territories in the face of any threats from inside and outside of the country in plain development. Second, to strengthen the FAM, the armed forces, in its logistical equipment, and to boost the development and technology development in plain development with great achievements that are going like the good rivers growing. And in a fundamental line, the 6th line, that is why we are here today, kicking off with very much strength after proving the pilot plan in Petare and the 90 quadrants of peace. This line says to boost and consolidate the state policy of the quadrants of peace, associated them with all of the communes and life forces, and that is why we are here at La Guaira, to activate the quadrants of peace, 1 quadrant of peace for every communal circuit. And the communal circuits, as we have been working on, every communal circuit must consolidate where it is already a commune. Here in La Guaira, we have 73 communal circuits where the people is exercising its participation and voting on their projects, right? And we have already 53 communes constituted, and we need to consolidate them, each and every one of them, with an integral plan to incorporate every neighbor in every commune, and may these communes be a space of harmony and life in the values of Jesus Christ and Bolivarian values. And we have 20 communal circuits who are in a phase of construction of the commune, 73 of them, and I aspire that for January 1st, 2027, Venezuela has already 6,000 communes consolidated, and here in La Guaira you have 73 to 80 communes legalized, constituted with the speakers and legitimate speakers, and consolidated in every aspect of life. And has recovered, is and will forever be a territory, a free and sovereign and independent territory, anti-colonialist, anti-imperialist, for many centuries to come. Amen. How the judges say. So, it is a fundamental element where is this idea of organizing quadrants of peace came from. I do remember this when we find out that the formula could be the criminal bands, gangs, used to articulate themselves and threat the lives of the people. So we cannot forget all of that offensive. Please do not forget the offensive when all of us we were ruled by the Bachaqueros, and to buy some wheat, some to buy food. We need to deal with the vaqueros. So did you forget the economic war on Zionism's orders? Zionism is the continuity of the White Dove criminal actions. Zionism and White Dove is bloodiest and more terrorist and more criminal than Zionism. It is an involution of the White Dove policy, who was so perverse. Do you remember the energy war and how we were overcoming the situation by polls, and the economic war, and how we are now positioning ourselves, the 13 motors, to point to our country in constant development? We need to remember all of this, and in the middle of this, they had a strategy with drugs sent by Álvaro Uribe Vélez from Colombia of buying and articulating the criminal gangs and turn them into an influencers. Do you remember when they uploaded on a daily basis to alias El Coqui? They became him into a famous figure, because you can learn how in certain community there is a delinquent alias Pichincho, but Pichincho is known just in that locality. But was it possible that alias El Coqui became renowned internationally? Because they had a strategy in social media to turn him into a hero, and they had all of this scenario of this criminal gang to lead an insurrection and an assault to power in Caracas. That was the bet, and they were paying for that with drugs. The day I ordered and entered the Cotonou 905, what we found there was so heavy. Paramilitaries from Colombia, some ran away from one side, and we captured others, but we caught from the roots the gang of alias of Coqui, aka Coqui, the very infamous Tren de Aguas. Wow. As Diosdado always says, they were burned to the ground. There are some reminiscences, one and there, perhaps small groups, but group by group they have been falling to the lost arms. So they had a strategy to fill and turn Venezuela into what they did in Haiti. What is happening in Haiti, in which criminal gangs with so much heavy arms and financed by narco-trafficking of Colombia and by the United States of America, they have made Haiti ungovernable and have destroyed our sister Republic of Haiti. That was their plans in Venezuela, and that was how they were selling this plan. It has a great value, an immense value, what our people has managed to achieve of turning Venezuela in 2025 in a territory of peace and coexistence and harmony, and moving forward on a daily basis. And here we need to ratify this strategy, and a key element in this strategy that I have learned for so long at the military university and the school of militiamen, and our Commander Chavez that taught us every strategy of the art and science of military science. As I always say, the military science and art, which is one of the longest in humanity, and this art and this science systematize the knowledge of military in our country, and we have tremendous academies of the highest level, and we have the best officials that could ever exist in armed forces of Latin America, including the United States. People, those who disguise of the left but receive money from the US, as it is already proved in the evidence we gathered, and it's very important, and there must be justice. We've been very humble and noble, the justice of Venezuela, of achieving conditional freedom for some of those captured in acts of violence. What would have happened if people like them would have been violent in the United States, in any city? God may free any city of the US from violence. Would they have been captured? They would have been shot at the moment. And what would have happened if they go to defeat the US government? May God save the government of the United States. They would take them. If they take them alive, they would put him to the electric chair. But the US pays for alleged non-governmental organizations from the left come to defend those poor people who destroy and burn. And I ask justice for peace in Venezuela, justice. I want to take advantage of this comment of my beloved Suarez Maldonado, because they are two young leaders that must be uniting and learning from the people. They have 73 communal circuits, and they must pay a visit to at least 2 a day. If you come from Caracas, from the east or the west, please let me locate myself. If you come from the west and you go to the savannah, and you both come from one point to the other until you meet at the middle, you can go through at least 73 communal circuits for the mayorship to be in contact directly from the communal circuits. It is beautiful, and I see this, that every governor elected are going and visiting the communal circuits. This is the new democracy that is being born in the heart of the Latin of the South, from the liberty of the South America, that is Venezuela, that is also going to be imitated by the peoples of the world that want peace and freedom. That is how it's going to happen. It is approved. Well, Diosdado was there at the National Assembly. I want to congratulate Diosdado Cabello, because he was there today announcing a report with the highest police command of the country, a full report of the investigation that allowed us to neutralize a terrorist attempt that Maria Machado ordered and financed to blow up the square of the victory against fascism there in Venezuela Square, and also at other terrorist actions in Fortuna and other installations of the country, in a joint work that we managed to achieve and to re-show all of the truth. And now we managed to acquire another deposit. Another deposit that was unveiled in Maturin today. Yesterday, another deposit higher than that of Maturin that we are going to show in the upcoming hours. And that is why imperialism, being discovered in its criminal plans, is now fleeing forward. So they are launching its accusations, imbeciles, against me, against military men and political leaders of the revolution. And they have the differences we have and we will have forever to the sewage of the putrefaction of imperialism in decay, trying to 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 overshadow our integrity. We are not going to be overshadowed by the imperialism, and we are going to move forward always united with the people. Venezuela, the world knows this. When the news of the Tren de Aragua came to the light, we faced it with truth. The truth, Tren de Aragua, you favor this. You finance it. I would even finance it. And Sebastián Piñero as well. The delinquents took them of those Tren de Aragua. Leopoldo López as well, and María Corina Machado and Julio Borges as well. All of them supported, and the truth prevailed. And then 252 migrants, Venezuelan migrants, took them, and they were accused as criminals. 252 innocent men, and I said, we are going to rescue them, and so did we. From the concentration camps of Bukele. And you know that those boys were tortured on a daily basis, abused daily. And there they are, recovering their lives next to their families. We brought them and handed over to their families, to these kidnapped boys. Another lie we defeated. And now they are saying, you know who? But the truth is the truth, and the truth is like a sun in a clear sky of this Tuesday. The truth is that Venezuela today, on a level of Latin American and Caribbean level, I think Venezuela is the world champion in the struggle against narco-trafficking and against all the mafias linked to the narco-trafficking of Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, against the mafia, Albanese mafia. We are the brave men and women of this territory. Diosdado announced the numbers, but Diosdado handed me over an inform that I think is very important to circulate it through the communal circuits and also our friends of the world, because what is the truth can be overshadowed, and Venezuela in this struggle against these lies and this barbarity is going to triumph, and we are going to show where the criminals are and the narco traffickers are. What awaits for us a great victory in this topic and in this specific battle. And what we are going to do is that we are going to demolish them. This is how I decreed this. The operation of demolition of the lies, national and international. It is decreed in the name of Jesus Christ and the forces of the sea against the evil. Here I have, boys and girls, all of you present here. Or aren't we boys still? You think Diosdado is an old man? Padrino is younger, gets younger on a daily basis. Padrino, you see that he's so vital at the head of the battles. I also want to ask a round of applause for General Padrino Las Naslares and all our Bolivarian armed forces, proud of Venezuela, of patriot Venezuela and Bolivarian Venezuela. Here I have this report from the United Nations organization. We didn't write this. On the contrary, many of the organisms of the United Nations blame us with reports that say nothing but lies or partially true, and we denounce it. This report fell to the hands of Diosdado, and he was speaking to me about this, of the Office of Drugs. Wardrobe Report 2025. Do you think it is, my English is good, Celia? Here it is, Celia. Look how beautiful she is today. Plus for Celia. This is an annual report where all of the tendencies, the worldwide tendencies, we have so many data in here of the issue of the production and traffic of drugs. But it's very clear. A key data, I'm not going to fill you with numbers, this is a clear data, and those in the United States who want to listen, you may listen and confirm the reality. Those who want to listen in Latin America may listen and confirm the reality as well, because our policemen and women and soldiers are active for one single spirit of doing good to our society and not evil, and not doing the evil in our continent or beyond. And we have a clear plan to defend the right of a healthy society, and it is the narco traffic of Colombia and Albanese who took the Albanese mafia that took power in Ecuador, in the presidency of Ecuador, those who financed the campaign against the revolution, the Bolivarian Revolution. One fact, firm. Venezuela, with its independence, anti-narcotics, with all its independence and police and military men, have been able to consolidate in the past few years, being a free land from fields of cocaine and marijuana. We are free from this because it is not grown in this territory. That's what the Inform says. Ever since Chavez exposed the DIA from Venezuela, and there are on a daily basis there are operatives along the border there at the Catatumbo. There we are, consolidating the cleaning of all the territory of rivers, everything. And what I wanted to coordinate with President Gustavo Petro, to coordinate further at a political level, police level and military level, that is our duty from Venezuela and Colombia, to make a union against the criminality in that territory. And that's the call I've made, and that is what hits the narco traffickers in Colombia and those who follow Uribe, because they want a free territory. Guaido assure that he was set to hand over Venezuela to narco traffickers, and also Maria Corina Machado is financed by narco traffickers of Colombia, Albanese mafia, and Uribe Vélez. Like Diosdado Cabello says, the day that the New York Times post this, they are going to believe it. But this is a fact, and consolidated as well. Those who want to see it, it is very welcome to see this. Those who want to come here and to see it, it is very welcome. And I can confess, right? May I? I can confess to you that all of those who come from the United States, who speak to me every once in a while, I always say to them, if you want to know the truth of the victorious struggle against narco trafficking, come here and get to know the experience of Venezuela, and I can put it at the service of the United States. But looks like the leaders of the United States is not what they want, actually. Another day I can keep speaking about this. Now there is a key event that I want to mention now, that we are on a national television, radio, social media, streets and walls. We are also at a channel of walls and streets. And this plan, this map that I have here, unfortunately, Colombia fell to the hands of narco traffickers from the decade of the 80s. Now there is a true, honest struggle against narco traffickers. But on behalf of President Petro, who is an honest man, we have several political differences, but he is an honest man. And in Colombia, it is produced the immense majority of cocaine, and also the coca leaves is produced. Please, Diosdado, give me the precise data that you gave me today. Please mention here with my friends, the policeman. According to the report, President, all of these are data, official data from the United Nations. 2025 in Colombia, it is produced 1,670 cocaine, tons of cocaine, and marijuana as well. 1,600 and 1,400 is about 2,000 and a little more. What's the report saying? Once every year that the traffic of Colombian cocaine has moved to the Pacific Ocean, and from the government power of the narco oligarchy from last presidency and today the fraudulent President Daniel Noboa has taken Ecuador, the criminal gangs, with the same methods that were known in Medellin and Cali during the kingdom of Pablo Escobar Gaviria. This has to be mentioned by someone in the world, and we are going to mention this, and we are going to demolish all of the lies, all the calumnies.
It's a hollow point ammunition. It has 38 grams of a compressed explosive of the highest level, and I will show it how it works, because they say no, it's only for the lethal power it could have. Here of different calibers. This that is here is a fire line explosive. It's not a power line. This, you wrap it around an explosive of any kind and it multiplies the detonation power. What you see here is an equipment that is used